I was told not to go past this desk, so I'm going to try my best, but I feel like I'm like standing like right in your way when I do it, so I'll do my best. But this is not a fun word, okay, discipline. No one likes it. No one likes when it's happening to you. Me and Lucy were chatting on the way over here, and we're like, discipline, man, what a strong word. It's a scary word sometimes, right, because it's you versus you, right? That's the only person that's not, Lucy can't make decisions for me. I got to do it myself, right? So we're driving. I'm like, man, I feel like there's something missing out of this thing. I'm like, what is it? What is it? And we drive past our old neighborhood, and was this crossing guard lady that's been there since you went to that school? She's sitting there, upright in her chair, has her stop sign in her hand, like ready to go at any moment. The kids are all in school, but she's ready to rock, right? I'm like, Lucy, that girl right there, that's a disciplined lady, right? I said, could you imagine an undisciplined stopping guard, right? That would be scary, right? For your kids, yeah, taking naps. Little kids are like just kind of just walking across the deal there. So I mean, when we saw her, we're chatting around, we're joking around about it. But I'm like, that girl's doing her job. Like she's ready to go. She's ready to rock. Like she's very disciplined in what she does. So just kind of going off like our football season. This was our actual word this year. I have a word every year for our team, and ours was disciplined. Right? I saw our guys. We had a really good football team, but it was lacking time management. It was lacking preparation when they got to practice. It was lacking certain things that I would notice, and we hit on this word early. I wish I could say that this word helped us, right? Which was kind of weird. We lost. We were 6-5 this year. Could have been an 8-9 win ball club. Okay, a lot of it had to do with this word right here. Okay. Discipline in doing what your coaches tell you to do. Discipline in showing up on time. Discipline when you work out. Discipline in the classroom. Discipline at home. Like all these little things were piling up constantly during the off season and early on in our football season, right? I'm like, what a great word. I'll just splash it up on the TV and I'll do a little PowerPoint about it and that'll fix everything. It didn't fix everything at all, okay? We lost 4 games by 1 possession. The major one, and I hope, because I'm a football coach, you guys sell cars, you guys manage people all the time. I'm a football coach, so I hope some of this kind of goes into what I'm kind of telling you guys, into what you guys do. But it was our last game of the year. Our starting quarterback gets sick, has 100-something degree temperature, didn't practice all week, came on Friday. This is playoff week, sorry. It's our playoff game this year. He couldn't go. He's a great thrower of the football, one of the best arms we've seen. He's a little kid, you probably wouldn't even notice it, but he could absolutely rip a football, right? So then our backup is more like a Taysom Hill type. He can run it, he can throw it, he can do everything, right? And he's very aggressive, right? Very aggressive kid. So we feel pretty comfortable about our backups. Whoever can't go, can go. They both play, but it was his turn to go. So he goes out there, couple runs here and there, throw. This is the first series of the game. He pulls the ball out, does a great job, very disciplined, okay? Pulls the ball out on the defensive end, takes off running, and they had a safety that came downhill, and he comes downhill hard, and our quarterback, it gained up on him pretty quick, and he didn't know whether to slide or run him over. He got stuck in between, right? And he got lit, John. I mean, he got popped. I mean, under the chin strap, head back. He fumbled the ball. They picked it up. It's their ball, and everyone's moving around, and he's just laying there. I'm like, oh, my gosh, man, you got to be kidding me. Well, I could tell you I could tell football stories for her, but we go out there, wake him up, scary scene, right? So he's out, right? Now our backup, that was a quarterback, our athletic director's son comes in, can throw the ball a little bit, right? Anyways, we come back, it's back and forth, back and forth. We score with like 2 seconds left. We can go for 2 to win it, we can go for 1 and tie it. I felt comfortable about going for 1, right? We were kind of screaming around, we weren't really, we didn't really have when we scored, managed, right? We weren't really expecting to score. We just tossed one up, scored, and guys were running around everywhere. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for 1, kick it. This is where this word comes in, and it kind of bit us in the butt. All year long, we saw these little things, this and that. And I love this kid. I will not say his name, but it's PAT. Any of you guys ever played football? Anybody ever been on the PAT team? Everybody steps where? They step towards the football, right? Everybody steps towards the football. Well, they lined up all their guys on the right, where they overload a little bit. Nobody was in this kid's gap to his left, so he's like, you know what? I'm going to step across. I'm going to block this guy so nobody comes through, right? Well, he steps right. He's supposed to step down. This guy cuts in front of him. They block the kick, right? We lose by 1. That was the end of our season. So this word came back to bite us in the butt. It did, big time, okay? Now, in life, this word can definitely bite you in the butt big time as well. That's kind of what we're going to get into, and just being a leader and showing your discipline in what you do, right? So, good loose. Okay, disciplined leaders play an essential role in setting the tone for the team's performance and culture, okay? When you come to BCHS, if you ever do, you walk in the weight room, you're going to see these guys getting after it, especially this year's club. They're going to be working, they're going to be getting after it, they're going to come shake your hand afterwards, before, whenever we start, whenever you show up. But these guys, we have a bar that's set, and we didn't meet that bar last year, but this year I think these kids, and I don't mean in terms of wins and losses, I want to see you guys being good at home. I want to see you guys not getting emails from your teachers. I want to see certain things out of you that where our bar is set, where our culture is. I want to see those. I want to see those aspects out of you. Right? I want to see those characteristics form in you. Right. So the 5 characteristics we'll go over today: consistency, okay, time management, self-control. That's a fun one. Okay, strategic planning, and focus on the process / results. Okay. Okay, consistency. All right, this is a big one for me. I have 2 slides for it because I really couldn't fit everything in there, okay, that I wanted to say. But disciplined leaders demonstrate consistent behavior, okay, setting a reliable example for those others to follow, okay, same guy every day. All right, this is a big one for me, right? We have, although we're in a private school, we do have kids that come from inner city that maybe don't have mom and dad, or we have kids that have everything in the world, but except a mom and a dad, or both, right? So being a consistent guy, or maybe they have both, and the dad is here and missing this and that, and doesn't show up in this, and doesn't come to their games. We've had that before. We've had senior nights where kids don't have parents to walk through, or just one. One decided to go work, or one decided not to come, right? So being the same guy every day is big for our players, right? Nobody wants to come to work and watch John bounce off the walls about this, then come the next day and he's sitting back in his chair relaxing, or, you know, me, I'm hot and cold and angry, I'm upset, and I'm smiling, I'm not, like, you want to make sure that you're just being you, right, every day to the people that you're in charge of, right? I think that's big for our, especially for 16-year-olds, but especially for people that don't have that stability, right? So, again, not being coached by 5 different personalities, right? I've been a part of coaching staffs like that, where you don't know what you're going to get every day out of this guy, right? And it's not scary, but when you have a leader that's you not know what you're going to get, you're on pins and needles all the time. That's not good, right? It's really not, okay? Beliefs and convictions, okay? Do not waver. All right, we're not perfect, but my players and staff need me to be consistent, okay? Keep the ship straight towards the destination and on time, right? That's big, okay? All right. Whether in decision-making, communication, or professional conduct, okay, they provide a stable influence that provides a foundation for the team's expectations and routines. That's a lot of words for being prepared, right? Okay. I tried to. If you're a leader, you're in charge of anybody. This goes on in my head constantly. Whatever all this stuff is, it's constantly going, right? Especially getting ready for a football season, another one, right? Was it coaches? Was it players? Was it us? Was it that? Was it leadership? Was it what was it? This has been going through my head for 4 months since that last kick, right? Is it me? That's the first person I look at is me, right? Am I being consistent with what I'm saying, right? Am I on time? Am I making sure I'm pushing these guys the right way, okay? Coaches and players know that decisions I make will always be in the best interest of the program, right? Practice plan, chat before each practice, detailed, okay? We'll stop here for a second with practice plans, and we'll get into that stuff too. People think, okay, just a Monday, okay, it's just a Tuesday, okay, it's just a Wednesday, okay, it's just a Thursday walkthrough. We really want to get to Friday. We can't get to Friday and be on our best, okay, if we're not consistent in grinding our details in practice, right? So what seems like maybe, and I'm going to try my best to try and get in the boat and row with you because I don't know what it's like, okay? I know what it's like to be a customer here, right? I do. I've been here before. You guys are great, okay? But just the average Joe that walks up, okay, they have to mean the world to you, right? It's not just someone just stepping on, you know, I say campus because I'm on a school campus, but stepping on campus here, they got to make sure they feel welcome. They got to make sure that they feel like they can talk to you about something, about cars, about finances and whatnot, okay? So just make sure everybody that comes every day means something, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before we even get to Friday, our practice plans are very detailed in what we do, okay? So when I meet with my coaches, we've been tight. I've known a lot of guys for over 10 years on our staff, right? I never want there to be like, okay, I can't say this to Coach Carr. I can't say this to Coach Brand. I can't say this to Coach Clear. Like there's time when we meet before practices or games where I want them to speak openly and freely speak, okay? Now, whether I take their advice or not, okay, that's a different, okay, animal itself. But I want to make sure that the people that I am in charge of, okay, and they're all older than I am, right? Found out my buddy, Coach Moran. You know what Coach Moran is? He's like 57 years old. He's like a Filipino guy, like coach, but he looks like he's 40, right? Like 38. It's crazy. So and I'm like, can you listen to me about defense? It's pretty crazy. Okay, so, but I've gotten to that point where I can have them share, right? So meet with your people, meet with whoever you're in charge of, meet with them, let them speak openly, okay, without being fired, right? Okay, and just make sure you guys come to an agreement on something, right? Okay, so the expectations are that each coach position is ready to teach. Okay, so this is big for me. I had a coach the other day come out, wasn't prepared. I've been with this guy for 8 years. I'm like, dude, you got to make sure you're here on time. You got to make sure you're ready to go. Like, if you're going to be late, I understand you're coming from somewhere. This is not college. We're not paying you $100,000 to be here. But when you're here, just step right into it and go, right? It took him 5 minutes to set up the bags. It took him this amount of time to this. I'm like, we got to go, man. Like, we don't have a lot of time with these guys, right? So if he's not ready to go, right, I'm going to lead the way. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be there on time as the leader. When you show up, be ready to go. Be ready to work. I can work with you, man. Like I know you're coming from across school or across the city. You're coming from a different school. Just make sure you're ready to go and be on time and have something ready to go, right? Okay, going on 10 seasons, my staff know the routines. If tomorrow I said, hey, we got Fundo tomorrow. Hey, we got this tomorrow. They already know what we're going to be doing, okay? Because they've been with me for so long, because I've been so consistent in what my speech is and what my verbal communication is to them, right? So just being consistent, and they'll know your language before you even have to explain it, right? Okay, time management. This was big for me. Okay, I'll kind of jump around a little bit. I'm not going to read word for word, but when I was at Bakersfield High School, okay, I coached with, he was nice enough to hire me, a guy with a long beard and a mohawk, okay, young guy, all right? But when I was at BHS for, I think I was there for 8, 9 years, okay, coaching D-line, I learned so much about time management from the head coach that was there. I thought I knew football, but when I got there, it was about managing a team. And there's so much that kind of goes into that, right? So much that goes into it. We got our practice plan, offense, defense, offense here, practice plan for game day stuff, but there's just so much. If I just handed this to the random person, they probably would have no idea what this is. They wouldn't have any idea what these little triangles mean and all this stuff, what it means, okay? But I learned so much from him, and so much goes into this stuff. It's really hard to just sit here and just talk about it for 20 minutes, okay? But time management skills, okay? Exceptional time management skills, understanding the importance of time, which is very hard for immaturity, like immature kids, like when they're 16, to understand that they don't have a lot of time, right? She graduated, what, a year ago? Did it seem like it was really fast? It goes fast, right? So do football seasons, right? So getting them to understand and map out their day and try and be a consistent time manager, right, is big for a lot of these kids, okay, and coaches, okay. Prioritizing tasks, avoiding procrastination, delegation. I'm a big procrastinator, okay, I really am. I'll get it done like 5 minutes before I'm supposed to do something. I'll knock it out real quick. That's how I was in high school. I've had to learn, okay, to be a better time manager, right? So that's what I've learned from my time at BHS with that coach is don't do things last minute, okay? We all have one thing in common with each other, right? It's time, okay? What do I do with my time? What do you do with your time? Okay, my time, a lot of my time is built in doing this. People see Fridays, people see, game day, but so much time and effort and time management skills go into practice plans and figuring things out. The more time you spend in that stuff, the more successful you'll probably be on a Friday, okay, or game day, whatever game day looks for you guys. I don't know, okay? But spend time, map out what you want to do. Some of you guys have already been around for a long time. I know you have. That's not an old joke, okay? I'm getting there too. I'm 41, okay? I'm getting up there, right? Not a crack on you, John, okay? But I'm pretty sure that you have an idea of what you want to do every day, right? And it's important to learn too. You can go on YouTube nowadays. It's super simple. We used to have to go to coaching clinics to figure out new things. You can just go to YouTube. Like I was watching, who was it? One of the best defensive line coaches in the world had a PowerPoint on YouTube for 45 minutes. I just sat there and watched and wrote stuff down. I learned stuff, right? So make sure the majority of your day is planning things out, getting ready to go, okay? One thing I use, okay, for our football team, proper preparation prevents poor performance, okay? So if you're prepared, you're probably going to do a lot better than you would if you were not, okay? All right, self-control. It's a fun one, okay? Disciplined leaders have a high level of self-control and emotional intelligence, okay? Again, I'm not going to try and say names, but I've been with coaches that don't have emotional intelligence, okay? They just fly off the handle. Something bad happens, I'm like, it's the second quarter on third down, man. Like, relax. Like, we got a lot of time. Like, maybe when I was 18 or 20, right, when I first started coaching, that would probably been me, but now I'm kind of a little wiser to it, okay? A little self-control goes a long way, especially with the referees, okay? That goes a long way, all right? I've seen some coaches just berate those guys. It does nothing for you, okay? But you can't be a leader without self-control, because that's going to trickle down to your team, okay? They can't regulate their emotions, resist impulsive reactions, remain calm under pressure. That's a huge thing, okay? I don't know how big that is here, okay? But remaining calm under pressure is a huge thing for a coach, because it helps you think, right? This creates a staff that can handle conflict successfully, manage stressful situations, and those do come up, that's for sure. Lashing out, flying off the handle, those types of things, those aren't very productive, okay, for being a self-controlled leader, all right? A man who cannot control himself is like a city whose walls are broken. I heard that way back when my grandfather used to preach, right? And I always kind of envisioned this beautiful city and these walls that are just kind of shattered and torn down, and there's people running around doing a bunch of stuff, and there's no barriers, there's no security, right? If you don't have self-control and you're a leader, it's not a very good thing. Okay, a lot of bad things can happen, right? So I think it's important that if you want a good team, you want a good squad, it starts with the leadership of the man put in charge. Okay, so had a player. I like stories. Okay, I had a player in 2009. This kid was 6'5", was 245, defensive end. I've waited for a long time because I used to coach at a little Kincaid High School in Texas. It was a little private school. You wouldn't find us on a map anywhere, okay? Fun football, but when I got here, these kids were just different at BHS. I mean, these kids, you walk on campus, there's at least 10 that could go get scholarships somewhere, right? So this kid, 6'5", 245, just out of control, athleticism, right? I thought this kid is going to be a Division I football player. Like, he is a dude. One of the most immature kids that I've ever taught in my life. I had so many conversations with our head coach. I'm like, Coach, am I doing something wrong? This kid was in trouble. Just doing the stupidest stuff like he was 3 years old, right? And I'm trying to be this father figure to him now when he's 17, right? And nobody else was, right? So he's just trying to, he's fighting the good and the bad. Like, he's fighting, I've been able to do whatever I want. And now I have a little Coach Carr where he's teaching me discipline, self-control. I don't like that too much. I don't like managing myself, right? Kid ended up going to prison, right? And small little story. I laugh, but it's not, I mean, it's rough, right? Because you want to be there for the kid. You want to try and teach him these things, but it's very tough. That's why I love what I do, right? Because I get to catch these kids, hopefully, before they make bad decisions. But this kid had all the talent in the world, had everything. I don't know if you guys have, I don't know, team members that have all the talent in the world, but just kind of, they don't really work out. They have no self-control. I don't know. They don't have discipline, okay? But my heart breaks for that kid because he had all the talent in the world. And now his family member is coaching in the NFL, played in college. Like, two different kids went two different directions, right? Just because of choices, okay? So, okay, hey, look, here we are. Cool, all right. Let's see. Strategic planning, okay? They are strategic thinkers who make careful plans to achieve long-term goals, okay? Our long-term goal is winning a championship every year. Every year, that's our goal, okay? How do we get there? And we work our way back, right? I'll go over all that, but right here, okay? I don't know if there's 40 people in the view right here, okay? Our DB coach, me, we're playing defense right now. Bo, hop along, he's all beat up, tore his knee up a little bit, okay, our DB coach. defensive line linebackers. Coach Gus, I don't know if you guys know Gus Theodore, but he refuses to leave this box, and he gets in the way a lot. But he loves football so much, so we just let him go. Okay, but running back coach, everybody on that video is doing something that we have planned and set aside time for since January. This was in October. Okay, we've been grinding, we've been teaching details, we've been teaching all these little things, right? The practice plan, everything that went into this. Okay, I just like this picture of all these guys kind of doing everything, doing their jobs all at one time. I like it. It's fun for me. It may not. It's just a practice video. Who cares? I care. I think it's fun. Okay. All these guys are just doing their job that we've been doing since January, right? Okay. So off-season workout plan, Bible studies, coach-player meetings, you name it. Okay. Hydration, injury prevention. Try and get these guys ready to play a game on Friday night, right? That's what we're doing here. Okay. Discipline leaders break down objectives into manageable tasks. Okay. Goal settings, we do a lot. Okay. Highly detailed coaching and training. Okay. One thing I do with these guys is be where your feet are. Okay, so I will plan this stuff out. All I ask for these players to do is show up at the certain time and just do exactly what I'm telling you to do at that moment. Nothing else matters but that 15 minutes of individual, that 30 minutes of Bible study, that's what matters. Right? So be where your feet are is a big thing that we tell them. Okay? Game planning, always thinking, always going over scenarios, finding the best answers. Again, we've been doing this a long time. A lot of these guys, I've known him for 15. Coach this kid. That's my brother. Coach, we know these guys. So our planning, okay, is so deep, and the guys know what we're going to do. Now we just add to it, right? So we add to it. All right. Next one, Lucy. All right. Focused on the process, okay? Discipline leaders focus on the process, all right? Knowing the desired result will come if the process is handled correctly, okay? This is Andre Calderon doing the squat right there. I think that's 400-something pounds, 450, I don't know. Okay, I'm not doing the math right now, okay? But the kid weighs about 160 pounds, right? It's incredible. He's going to be one of the best receivers in the Valley, if you hear his name, Andre Calderon, okay? He's a great kid, but he just works his tail off. He works his tail off constantly, okay? And we're so he's not worried about Friday night right now. He's not worried about tomorrow. He's not worried about nothing. All he's worried about is getting that weight off his back, right? And having his teammates cheer for him. And that's all these guys are there to watch him do also, right? They're so focused on that task right now, he could care less about a Friday night right now. That's our quarterback. That's Talon, the one that got knocked out, okay? I don't know how it happened. He's a very physically fit kid, but he just got caught in the chin, okay? But they're so focused on that, the process. They're not worried about the end goal. He's not worried about is that kid going to score a touchdown on Friday night. He's not worried about it. He's worried about this weight right here, right? So the more you focus on the process, the results will take care of themselves, right? Focus on making sure he's getting low enough. Focus on making sure he finishes his reps. Make sure that you're focused on the process, not, okay, scoring touchdowns on a Friday night 4 months from now, okay? When focused on the process and not the results, team members will have a different mindset approaching a task, okay? Completion of small goals daily, that's a big one too, right? My brother's been trying to win a Super Bowl for years, okay? He's been trying, right? Now, whether that's his fault or not, okay, I'll let you guys determine that, all right? But, okay, if he just focused on the Super Bowl 24/7, just sat there and stared at the trophy, nothing would get done, nothing. He'd have no shot. He'd get weaker, he'd get stupid, okay? The whole deal, the team would suck, okay? The small goals daily. He makes sure he gets up, and whenever he gets up, he makes sure he drinks his drink, his shakes. I've gone over this with him before. I'm not living with him, okay? But he goes through all the same things he's been doing for 15, 20 years, okay? Consistency, right? Small goals every day are huge for these guys, okay? If these guys know that they can show up, they work out, they hit it, we do exactly what Coach tells us to do, when he tells us to do it, we're going to have a really good shot. And it helps these guys puff their chest out every day when they complete their small goals, right? So that's huge for a team to have. Have little small goals every day for your people, okay? Yeah, Monday practice just as important as a Friday night, okay? Focus on the details, okay? Trust the process. That's a huge one for us, okay? Especially if you ever go to a high school football team and you say, who wants to go play in college? They're all raising their hand. In the back of your head, you're like, probably not, okay? You're like 5 foot and you're 100 pounds, okay? But you don't say that, right? Okay? But as long as they trust the process, okay, as long as they trust that this is going to pay off for Andre, they look in the mirror, they're getting bigger, they're getting stronger, okay? They're completing small goals every day, okay? And they just focus completely on what they're doing at that time, okay? They're going to have success. It may not be college success, but it's going to grow a maturity in them that's going to last them a long time, okay? All right, next one, Luce. Is there a next one? Oh, yeah. Okay, last one, okay? The essence of leadership is holding your people to the highest possible standard while taking the best possible care of them, okay? I like this one, okay? Again, I've been with these coaches for a long time, over a decade, okay? Been doing this for now 10 years, well, now 20 years almost, okay? Assistant and head coaching. You can lead, you can tell people to do this, go do that, do this, do that, okay? If you're not taking care of them, okay, the best possible care that you can, okay, you're not going to get much out of them. If you're just the guy that shows up every day and barks orders and then goes to your office and sits there, you know how it is. I mean, I was an assistant for a long time. People that did that, I'm like, this guy don't care, man. I got to do my own thing, okay? Make sure you have a high bar and you're taking care of your people. Okay, that's the main thing that I try and get across. Okay, to our coaches and to our players. I want them to see that they can come in and talk to me anytime they want to in order to find me, okay? I'm going to be consistently, okay, in my chair, okay, when they need me, and answer phone calls when they need me, right? So just be there for your people and set a high standard. It'll go a long way. So questions, anybody about anything on there? I'll try my best to answer. John? Yep.
What did you say to your team when they blocked out the kick?
I'm not going to lie to you. That, John, yeah. So our football field is, I don't know, maybe 100 yards right away from where we meet after games. So they're on the football field, and I really didn't want to talk to anybody, so I just jogged off. And so we go in the weight room. It's where we meet after games, and they're all in there, and the coaches kind of surround up, and we're sitting there. I'm like, guys, I literally have no idea because I'm just so upset and so mad, like, because I've been trying to teach these guys discipline all year long, and for that to be the end, it hurt, right? So I don't bull crap, okay? Kids, when I go in there, I'm very real with them. So I walked in there and I said, guys, this is the first time I'm at a loss of words. Like, I really am. Like, you don't want to beat these kids up already, right? That's the last thing you probably want to do. But I'm also very honest, and I also try and love them up at the end, okay, if I do try and come down on them. So I told them, I was like, guys, discipline came back to bite us in the butt. It did all year, right? They're all nodding their heads, this and that. I said, but know one thing, that we love you no matter what. This is life. These things happen, okay? But I hope you guys really understand what we were trying to get across to you all year, right? That was the main kind of goal, where it's like you put it in their lap, and they understand it, and they know it, right? At the same time, you just remind them that we care for them and love them. So, yeah. It was tough, though. I'm not going to lie. That was tough. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yep.
So, you brought up, speak freely, and
Yeah.
then, you want to do the discipline part. How do you, like, for your team and such, keep the discipline from turning negative and the speaking freely from turning negative? What is
Yeah.
that with your own team?
So when you're disciplining, right? That's what you mean? Yeah. So that's tough, and you have to catch certain coaches, because you can coach out of frustration sometimes, right? Or lead out of frustration sometimes, right? And that does nobody any good. Like, it may make you feel good, but it doesn't really get a lot done, right? So, like I said, with that, like, it's addressing the issue, okay? At the same time, also showing that you still care about them, still love them, right? It's very difficult. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, right? You don't want to get too negative because then you lose the kids, right? You want to be too positive because then they run all over you. There's got to be some kind of balance in there, right?
Or even the other side, like
Yeah.
when your coaches are coming out negative and you want to
Oh,
you want to try to push them to be more positive.
Yeah.
But what is your
We tell them, you straight tell them, like, hey man, like, so we have a young coach that I coached, played linebacker for us. Love him to death, but he's got a little temper, right? It's like I used to have, right? I mean, it's in there, but I've kind of learned to kind of manage it, right? Like, he was the guy I was talking about, 2nd and 3, and the kid jumps off sides, loses his mind, like, out of control. I'm like, man, just relax. You need to save some of that for the 3rd and 4th quarter, right? I have a relationship with him. I think I can walk up to him, put my arm around him, and, hey man, we got to relax a little bit, right? And we've done it. We've had conversations about that. So building a relationship is key first with anybody, and then I think you can talk to anybody not how you want to talk to them, but you can address issues like that when you have better relationships with people. Yeah. Yep.
The part that really spoke to me is not focusing so much on the end goal,
Yeah.
but just the process, the day-to-day process.
Right.
What are habits that you do or practices you do on a daily basis to kind of remind yourself of focusing on the process instead of the end goal?
I think my biggest fear is not being prepared, right? If someone gave me this job, right, they trust me to do a job, I think preparation is the biggest key for me, right? So if I feel prepared and I'm writing things down, I have this list and I send it out and everyone checks and says, okay, I feel like I've done my job, right? So that's how I kind of keep myself grounded. I literally have a fear of like, I'm going to get fired every Friday. I've had it. We won a state championship. I'm like, oh, cool. My brain straight goes next year. We're losing X amount of players. I got to make sure that I'm ready to go. We have these guys in these spots. I'm sick. I don't know why. Maybe like a week I had fun with that one. But it's a fear of like not being prepared. And not overly prepared where I take it home and I lash out at the kids or something like that, but I just make sure that I have my stuff done. And preparation, I think that goes a long way. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
What kind of team bonding do you guys do? Because I know that, offense has its own thing, defense has its own thing.
Yeah.
How do you keep those two working together?
Yeah.
One goal saying, hey, it's not just the defense's fault we lost, it's the offense's fault.
Yeah. You know what's funny, like at BCHS, so at Liberty you could have like 100-something kids. You come to our practice, there's like 35, 40. So a lot of them play both ways, right? So in that aspect, it's not really like a your fault, his fault type of deal. Maybe it is. They don't do it in front of me. Kids are going to be kids. They'll make fun of each other, right? But I think as long as you promote, I don't know. A lot of times I have these kids like, hey, make sure you invite so-and-so. Quarterbacks, make sure you're inviting the offensive line over for dinner. We'll go have dinners. We'll go do things. We'll do paintball. We'll go do some stuff together as a team. But trying to encourage guys to just not stay with their clique, okay, that's tough, right? There are cliques within a team, right? I guess it's my job as we'll go to, where's the church camp that we go to? Hume? Hume. Yeah, we go to Hume Lake. Like that's a fun little couple days. So you try your best as a coach to kind of do that. But what I like at practice, whoever's playing offense, scout team offense, whoever's playing defense, like we're going to go back and forth. We talk, we scream, we yell, we compete. Whether my defensive lineman is playing offense right there, just getting a break, or it's flip-flopped, right? We're still competitive guys, and we still shake it up after practice. And you just try and do your best to kind of build that. It'd be different if I had like 100 kids and they only played offense, only played defense. I'd be a little different, but yeah. Anything else? Okay.
Let's talk about time management. So obviously in your role, you have, I wrote down 5 things you probably are important to your day as far as time management. I think that obviously you have administrative duties, right?
Yeah.
You have coaching the coaches,
Yep.
right? You have coaching the players.
Yep.
You have family,
Yeah.
right? And then you have self-development time, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right, whether it's prayer or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you allocate your time between those 5 things? Between,
Yeah.
again, administration, coaches, players, family, and self-development?
So I probably just as my day, right? So I get kind of blessed. I don't have a first through third period, right? So that's why I'm here. That's right. So I got time managed this, right? So, but on a normal day, I'll get to work like at 9:45. I don't have class until like maybe 11:15, right? So I try and get as much as Coach Carr, right? Darren Carr can get done. Okay, so I'll lift. I'll read my Bible. I'll make sure I'll have a list. Okay, just right there. I'll have a list of things I got to do on my left, right, for the week or just that day, and I'll check them off. Do I check them all off every time? No. Okay, but I make sure I lift. I make sure that I, read my Bible. Make sure that I, text my kids, this and that. Just try and stay connected to them, right? Because we're all doing so many different things. Then we have class, and I put my teacher hat on, right? And go to teach. And the football players come in at 3:15. Put my coaching hat on, right? Do that for about an hour and a half. Take that back off. Go home and be dad, right? So I'm kind of in a routine now, right, where it's good. But there's some days where it's just, kind of get tired and you just want to sit there in your chair, but you can't, right, because things won't get done. But it's just making sure, I've done this for 10 years at this job, and it's kind of my routine that I have now, right? I like taking care of things early. If you can take care of it early, knock it out. Yep.
Others?
Anybody else?
Questions?
Yes, sir.
How do you motivate your team?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like to think that I have a really good pregame speeches. I get a little fired up. Okay, I love football. I love the kids. I love watching them hit and run and score. Right. Motivation's tough to the ones that aren't motivated, right, to be there. Right. So I think that's probably why we have such, I don't want to say low numbers. We have pretty good numbers, but I don't think anybody just goes out to play football. Right. If you're there, if you're playing football, you obviously love to hit and run and score and be a part of a team, right? So I have their attention with that, and I can kind of go off those topics, right? But the self-motivation stuff, I think, comes from the weight room. It comes from encouragement. It comes from building them up, right? Their hearts and their souls. But man, it's hard to motivate someone that's not motivated. That makes sense, okay? They probably shouldn't be a part of your team, you know, or given a lot of responsibility. Right, like we've had those kids, but they don't really play. They kind of sit on the sideline. They like to hang out. So, yeah, just motivation is it's a big word. Okay, you know, I could probably fire Lucy up to go to. She's not feeling good or not having a great day. I could probably fire her up to go to work. I'm pretty good at it. You think? Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. I get her going, make her smile. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, well, I should follow up with that one.
Yep.
Because I love the way you put it, you know, as maturity, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
But, you know, self-control, as you said, it's not something you can be taught right away. It's something that needs to be built up.
Yeah.
But when you run into that situation, I mean, do you to help that, do you try to teach them habits, like something that builds upon trying to do that, or how do you try to push on a better self-control?
So yeah, self-control is a tough one, right? Because it's self, right? I can give you all the great acronyms and speeches and all this stuff all the time. Kids still go out and do stupid stuff. We all still go out and do stupid stuff, right? Make stupid decisions, right? That affect us, right? So really, to me, now this is me personally, it's getting in my word. The more I get in my word, okay, the Bible says you eat the word just like you eat food, right? If you're not eating that food, then so what do we tell the kids? I'm like, if you're not filling yourself full of the word, right, the world's going to fill you full of whatever, right? And it's going to be easier to get. It's like going to the fast food restaurant. It's $5 for the whole meal and your whole family can. Well, I don't know about inflation now, but it's easier to go do that than have a nice, fine dine restaurant food, right? So just making sure I'm in my word, I'm getting that in me. I mean, there was a verse that came up the other day that I saw, and I'm like, that was in there? Well, that's pretty cool. Didn't know that, okay? So the more you read it, the more you kind of working on the whole man, right? And that's what we try to do at BCHS with the guys, right? So it's tough, though. It's self-control, right? So it kind of comes down to whether they listen to us or not and make those right decisions when they're away from us, right? Yeah.
I know with the EQ, the emotional intelligence, generations kind of changing. The younger kids,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you use emotional intelligence to connect and manage
Yep.
and motivate these
Yep.
people. How long did it take you to develop that as a leader?
So I'm still kind of, I don't want to say they're the same age. I'm kind of in there a little bit. So I've kind of, and I've gotten to grow up last couple of years coaching football with different kids. Now the kid has definitely changed. I mean, I had a kid that broke his nose and wanted to run in there. I think I've told you guys, run in there and play football again. There's some guys that roll their ankle and I don't see them for 2 weeks. So it's tough, right? It's tough, but you do have to meet them at an emotional level. It's tough because I was always the one that I had the old school coaches. Hey, go do your job, get out there and blah, 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 F this, F that, and go, right? Okay, well, coach told me to go, I'm just going to go. Well, now these kids want to know why. So you got to really be prepared. You got to tell them why they should be doing these things. They're a lot more, they think a lot more. Not that we didn't think, right? I just did what I told, but they want to know a lot of the reason why, right? How does it connect and why do I have to do this? So we show them film, we show them, this is what worked here, this is what works here, and you show them what works. I think that's how you kind of win them over a little bit, right? And again, my big thing is being in my desk at a certain time when these guys can come in and chat. They can come talk to me anytime they want. Like we get a transfer come in, they come in the door, I'm gonna have them sit right next to me, tell me all about their family. I don't care about football. Like I had one kid come in a couple weeks ago. He wanted to talk nothing about football, how fast he is, he did this and that. I'm like, that's fantastic, man. We'll see you on the football field. Do you have any brothers and sisters? Your mom and dad at home? Like, and he's like shocked because his old coach didn't get into all that stuff. So, but emotionally invest into the kids. I think that helps. Yep.
Do you think that's why that works so well? Because you take the time to
Yeah.
to understand them and know
Yep.
who they are and
Yep. It's huge, right? Relationships are huge, right? You guys will probably never remember a word I say, but if you walk in, I'm just kind of crossing my legs and kind of ignoring everybody when they walk in, not shaking your hand, not doing these things. And it's the way you make people feel, right? So when they come in the door, oh, Coach Carr wants to know about my family. When he goes home and tells his mom, Coach Carr wanted to know about my family and this and that and this and all this. He didn't talk about football not once, right? So I think building relationships are huge, right? That's how you get kids to do what you ask them to do, right? I mean, I've had coaches in high school that didn't have a relationship with, just wanted to bark orders at me. I did it because I wanted to do it. Haven't talked to them in 20 years, right? Like we just all went to a wedding for one of our football players over the summer. I mean, so you invest in them, you hope it sticks, you know, and you kind of get
you
them.
want it to be more than just about football. You're trying to
100%.
mark their entire life.
100%.
and what their
Yeah.
future might look like.
Football is very minimum what I do every day. It's maybe 30% of my day, football, actually going out there, which I love, and that's what I want to do the most. But talking with the kids, playing pickleball with the quarterbacks, like doing those types of things where you show your human side is huge. Then I can go out there at 4 o'clock and yell and scream, so they see both and they trust me. Yes. Iron sharpens iron, yeah, for sure.
Because like good leadership or good management starts with being open and, you know, being valuable to them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an 8 to 5 job. It's not a 9 to 6 job. It's
No.
my phone rings at 2 in the morning sometimes. Just gotta be there, listener.
Yes,
You know, listen.
absolutely. That's a big thing my grandpa always kind of said. And I may have said it or not, but he was a pastor for 35 years at church. And he goes, Darren, when you stop listening, you stop learning, just dig your hole. And just start getting in your grave. You're not going to learn. You're not going to listen to people. Now, again, whether I take your advice or not, I am going to listen to you, and we're going to figure it out, right? But it's relationship building. That's how I think that's good qualities of a leader, right? Like, not to put John on the spot, but John has shown our family constantly that he cares for us by sending us a tow truck and one of his employees to come pick us up at Tahone Ranch. To me and our family, that's a huge thing, right? It's massive. It's a relationship builder. That's why he asked me to come do this, and absolutely we'll come for you and do this, right? We'll come talk. It's easy, right, to help you out, right? But it's a relationship thing for sure, yeah.
I have a statement too. The fact that you're standing here today in Motor City, it shows Motor City's leadership in the fact that they want to develop their staff.
Right.
And it makes a difference in having to leave this room today and translate it into the truth, so to speak.
Right.
And also making sure what you take from here today is the reflection of what we as leaders
Yeah.
can take from what you do with the players.
Right.
100% to the T.
Yeah.
What you instill, we probably would change based on that today.
Correct. And so I tell Lucy, I'm like, I'm going to go talk to a bunch of Carr guys about football. Like, it's hard, so I hope you guys are trying to kind of mold into what you do, and I hope you're learning something. I don't know what a 41-year-old guy can teach some of you guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm teaching something, maybe nothing. I don't know. But yeah, it's a relationship builder. It's dealing with people. It's very tough. You don't get along with everybody, right? But as long as you have a plan and you're prepared, this is the bar. This is what we set. This is where we go. You can't meet that bar, then I mean, sit on the sideline, right? You don't get to play. So.
Thank you.